Good morning to all. Today we are going to see about the morphology of bacteria. So morphology in the sense we are seeing the structures and other things, their functions, everything. So bacteria, we know that it is a unicellular organism and it is a free living one. So they are capable of performing all the functions of life like other eukaryotic organisms. They possess both deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA, and ribonucleic acid, that is RNA. So these bacteria are prokaryotic organism. That means it is a single celled organism and they do not have any chlorophyll like plant cells. So bacteria is ubiquitous in nature. It is present everywhere, that is in water, soil, air, food and all natural environment. And the other thing is this bacteria can survive at extreme conditions like extreme temperatures, pH, oxygen and atmospheric pressure. At extreme level these bacteria can also survive. Next, the size of bacteria. So bacteria are micron in size. They are stained by staining reagents, that is visualized under microscope up to 1000 microscopic magnification. So they are very small in structure. No, they are so only we can see under microscope. That's why they are colorless. So that's why we are going to stain the bacteria and we can see the bacteria under microscope. And if we want to see the internal structures like their chromosome and their cytoplasmic inclusions, like we can see under electron microscope. So electron microscope is used to see the internal structure of bacteria. Shape of bacteria. So there are a lot of shapes are there. So they are classified based on the following shapes, that is cocci, bacilli, vibrios, spirilla, spirochetes, actinomycetes and mycoplasma. These are the few shapes of bacteria. So what is that? What is cocci looks like? So cocci is a small spherical oval cells. So in Greek that means kokos, that means berry. So this is the shape of the bacteria. So for example is micrococcus. That is cocci means it is a small spherical cell. So cocci means what is that? It is a small spherical. It is round in nature. That is it is small spherical in structure. Next is bacilli. So bacilli is nothing but it is a rod shaped. So bacillus means it is a stick like structure. So stick like shape. So bacilli is nothing but it is a rod shaped cell. In technically we told it as bacillus. Okay. So these bacillus sometimes arranged as coccobacilli. Sometimes the spherical cells looks like bacilli, that is called as coccobacilli. So example for this bacilli shape is Bacillus anthracis. Next is embryos. So embryos is nothing but it is a curved rod. It is a usually it is a bacilli, that is it is a rod shaped cell, but that rod is somewhat curved. So it is looks like comma. So that is known as vibrios. For example is Vibrio cholerae, that is responsible for causing cholera disease. Next, spirilla. So spirilla is nothing but it is a rigid rods with several curves or coils in that. So it is nothing but it is a rigid rod having some curves and coils. So this is a helical shape and rigid body. For example is spirillum. So you can see the structure. That is a curved bacilli. So curved rod, that is it is known as spirilla. Spirilla is known as curved rod. It has a lot of coils. So example is Spirillum rubrium. Next, spirochetes. So spirochetes is having slender and flexible spiral forms. This is known as spirochetes. So spirochetes is nothing but having spiral form, flexible spiral forms. Actinomycetes. So actinomycetes is having a rigid cell wall. Example is Streptomyces. So they are filamentous, that is a branching like structures. This cell having branching like structure, so it is called as filamentous bacteria. Example is Streptomyces species. Next is mycoplasma. Mycoplasma is nothing but it is a cell wall deficient bacteria. So this mycoplasma doesn't possess cell wall. So it is having a stable morphology. Does not having a stable morphology. They occur in any forms like oval bodies or interlacing filaments or round bodies. They then that is mycoplasma is nothing but it does not having a rigid stable morphology. It doesn't, why? Because it doesn't having a cell wall. Next, arrangement of bacteria. So arranged, how these cells are arranged. So based on their several characteristics, they are arranged and grouping. First one is diplococci, second streptococci, tetracocci, staphylococci and sarcina. So next we going to see the arrangement of these groupings. First one is diplococci, that is two cells or remain pair. For example is Diplococcus pneumoniae. So while during division they are failed to separate from their mother cells, they attach within the mother cell. They attach within the same plane, that is single plane. So they are looks like this structures arrangement, that is Diplococci. They are occur in pairs. Next is Streptococci. The cells divide in one plane and remain attached. They fail to separate. So they form a chains. This example is Streptococcus lactis. So Streptococci in simple they are forming chains. Next is Tetracocci. Tetracocci they divide in four groups of four. They divide in two planes and forms of groups of four. For example is Kefica. So four cells are arranged in a single two planes. Next is Staphylococci. So Staphylococci in the sense they are divided in three planes and in irregular pattern. So they form as a result of this they form a bunch of cocci like grape-like clusters. Bunch of cocci or grape-like clusters. For example is Staphylococcus aureus. Next is Sarcinae. Sarcinae in the sense they are divided in three planes and regular pattern. So while Staphylococcus is divided in same three planes but it is in a irregular pattern, whereas Sarcina is divided in three planes but in regular pattern. So they form a cuboidal arrangement, like they having a 8 cells and they form a cuboidal arrangement. For example is Micrococcus tetragena. Next is a bacillus arrangement. Till then we are discussing about the arrangement of cocci cells. Now we move on to arrangement in bacilli cells. So bacilli cocci, the bacilli also grouped in diplobacilli, streptobacilli and trichomes. So diplobacilli in the sense two cells arranged in a single plane, they fail to separate. So you can see in the picture diplobacilli. Streptobacilli in the sense they form chains. So lot of cells, more than 10 cells arranged in a plane and they fail to separate, so they form a chains. Next is trichomes. You can see this picture for their arrangement. So this is the arrangement of bacilli. Next, till then we are discussing the shapes and various arrangement of both cocci and bacilli cells. Next we move on to the single bacterial structure. So bacteria having flagella, pili, capsule, plasma membrane, cytoplasm, cell wall, ribosomes, mesosomes, inclusion bodies and spores. So we are going to discuss one by one these structures and the function of these structures. So you can draw this diagram while in examination. So first one is flagella. So flagella is nothing but it is a thin long hair like cytoplasmic appendages. Especially it is useful for the bacterial movement. So that is known as motility. Motility is nothing but movement. For the movement of bacteria from one place to another place, this flagella is very helpful. So these are the organs of locomotion. So this flagella is measuring about somewhat 0.01 micrometer to 0.02 micrometer in diameter, and the length of this flagella structure is 3 to 20 micrometer. We know that bacterial bacteria are micrometer in size. So these flagella is made up of some protein called flagellin. So flagella is made up of a protein that is called flagellin. This flagella having three basic parts, that is filament, hook and basal body. So in these structures you can see the filament, hook and the basal body. That the basal body is arising from the cell. Okay, then later on the hook is present and later on the filament is present. So filament is thin, cylindrical, longer outmost region. So this filament is attached to a hook structure. So next to filament we have the hook structure, wider hook, then from there only the filament is arised. Next to hook there is a basal body, then it is inserted into the cell. So inserted into the cell, this basal body having three rings, that is L ring, P ring and M ring. So in gram negative bacteria they contains all these four rings, L ring, P ring, X ring and M ring, whereas gram positive bacteria having only S and M rings as a basal body. So in only few gram positive bacteria having this flagella, or most of the gram negative bacteria having flagella. So based on the gram reaction only, this bacteria is grouped into the gram positive as well as gram negative. So from where it is arised means from the cell wall nature. Cell wall nature of this cell wall nature of this bacteria determine into group 2, that is gram positive and gram negative. So based on the flagellar presence, they are divided into monotrichous, that is having only one flagella, then lophotrichous, that is having two or more flagella at one end, then amphitrichous in the sense bacteria having single polar flagella or tough flagella at both ends, that is known as amphitrichous, whereas peritrichous in the sense flagella all over the body. So these are the based on the flagella nature, they are divided into four, that is monotrichous, lophotrichous, amphitrichous and peritrichous. First we are going to see the pili or fimbriae. So like flagella is a long hair like appendages, where pili is a small hair like appendage, that is microfibrils. They are 0.5 to 2 micrometer in length and 5 to 7 nanometer in diameter. So it is smaller than flagella. So what is the purpose of this pili or fimbriae in the sense they are very thinner and shorter and that is more numerous. Okay, they are present only in gram negative cells. So these bacteria, this pili structure is present only in the gram negative bacteria, and it is also made up of a protein known as pilin. Okay, whereas flagella is made up of flagellin. Here pili is made up of pilin. Okay, this fimbriae and pili, they are interchangeably present. They are fimbriae can be evenly distributed over the entire surface of the cells. They form a poles of the bacterial cells. So each bacteria possesses some 100 to 200 fimbriae. So in a single cell, each bacterial cell maybe 100 to 200 fimbriae is present. Pili usually longer than fimbriae. Okay, whereas fimbriae is a present just 1 and 2 numbers, whereas pili are having numerous in numbers. Next function of this pili and fimbriae is they play an important role in attachment of cell. So they are the adhesion organ. So attachment of a cell, these are the organ of adhesion, whereas flagella is an organ of locomotion. So pili is an organ of adhesion. Next is plasma membrane. So plasma membrane is nothing but it is a cytoplasmic membrane. So it is 5 to 10 nanometer in size. They separate the cell wall and cytoplasm. So plasma membrane is only the structure that separates the cell wall and cytoplasm. So these plasma membrane contains phospholipids and protein as a material. So this is the this gives the organism is a rigid, and in eukaryotic cells the lack of sterols, but in prokaryotic cell plasma membrane they are rigid in nature. What is the function of this plasma membrane? This plasma membrane, it acts as a semi-permeable membrane. It controls the inflow and outflow of the nutrients and metabolites, outflow of the metabolites and nutrients inflow. It helps in DNA replication, and it provides a mechanical strength of the bacterial cell. Next is cytoplasm. So we know that cytoplasm is a viscous water solution that is present inside the cell. In eukaryotic organisms, higher eukaryotic organisms, the cytoplasm possesses a lot of materials like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria and lysosome. Wherein cytoplasm bacteria, they contains only the genetic material, contains ribosomes, proteins and other water soluble components, but it lagging endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus and mitochondria, where it is present in eukaryotic organisms. In most bacterial cell, extra chromosomal DNA also present, that is known as plasmid DNA. So along with that nuclear materials, that is the chromosomal DNA, and most bacteria contains plasmid DNA. Next is mesosome. Mesosome is nothing but it is a respiratory structure of bacteria. So through this mesosome only the bacterial respiration takes place. Next is nucleoid. So nucleoid is a nuclear material, that is a bacterial chromosome. In higher organism, that is surrounded by nuclear membrane, where it is in bacteria it is not present. So this is the just a bacterial chromosome that is floating on the cytoplasm. It is double stranded DNA, circular DNA. And then next to nucleoid, intracytoplasmic inclusion bodies are present. So these are the nothing but a cytoplasmic inclusion bodies, round granules. Though they are the storage granules, either they store the glycogen or starch material. So these storage granules can be viewed by staining polychrome methylene blue or toluene blue staining. So if we want to see these cytoplasmic inclusion bodies of this bacteria, we can stain by using polychrome methylene blue or toluene blue. Next structure is capsule. So capsule, this is the very important structure. So this is the amorphous organic exopolymer structure. So this is the tight to cell wall. This is present outside and it is tightly to the cell wall. So this is known as capsule. It is nothing but it is a loose amorphous organic exopolymer structure. That is, it is exopolymer structure in the sense it is present outside the cell wall. So these capsules composed of polypeptides and polysaccharide materials. Water is a main component of this capsule. So this capsule containing 98% of the water as the main component. Next, this is loosely associated with the bacterium. It is easily washed away. So this is a loose layer. So it is called a slime layer. It is tightly to the cell wall, but it is a loose layer because of the polysaccharide viscous material. It is loosely associated with the bacterium. So if we washing with water in the sense, it is easily washed away. So that is called as slime layer. So the capsule is otherwise known as slime layer. So capsule containing bacteria forming smooth colonies, whereas the non-capsulated, the bacteria without capsule producing rough colonies. So if the bacteria contain capsule, it means it forms a smooth colonies, whereas it doesn't have, it forms a rough colonies. So what is this function of this capsule? This capsule protect the cell from drying. It helps the bacteria to escape from the drying, and it protects the bacterial cell against the antibacterial agents as well as the phages. If we using antibacterial agents, and this capsule help the bacteria to protect against the antibacterial agents. Next is cell wall. So the cell wall is a rigid bacterial cell that gives a definite shape to the cell, bacterial cell, and between the capsule, and it is present between the capsule and cytoplasmic membrane. So it is about some 10 to 20 nanometer in thickness and constitute about 20 to 30% of the dry weight of cell. So this cell wall cannot be seen by microscopy, and it does not easily stain by using different staining reagents. we can see the capsule by staining reagents, and we can see the inclusion bodies by staining reaction, but we can't see the cell wall by staining reagents. So it contains, what are the contents that is present in the bacterial cell wall is diaminopimelic acid, that is DAP, muramic acid and teichaic acid. These substances join to form a complex polymer structure that is known as peptidoglycan or murin or mucopeptide. So based on the cell wall nature only, the bacteria grouped into two categories. I already told you in the previous slide, they are gram positive and gram negative bacteria. So this group of classification is arised from the cell wall nature of this bacteria. So peptidoglycan is a major constituent of the cell wall of gram positive bacteria. So in gram positive bacterial cell wall, they having 50 to 90% of this peptidoglycan layer, whereas in gram negative bacteria it is only in a few amount only present, that is 5 to 10%. So peptidoglycan is a major component. Based on this presence only, bacteria is divided into two categories, that is gram positive and gram negative. So the gram positive and gram negative classification is mainly come from the cell wall nature of the bacteria. So don't forget it, it is a very important in bacteriology. So this is a chemical structure, that is N-acetyl muramic acid and a peptide chain. So all these form a complex structures, that is a polypeptide peptidoglycan layer. So this is the difference between the gram positive and gram negative bacteria. So you all should know this basic differences. So this is a component, it is in the gram positive and gram negative. So thickness is in gram positive, that is 20 to 25 nanometer, and in gram negative it is 10, that is 10 to 15 nanometer only. Then peptidoglycan is 50 to 90% present, it is only less in 5 to 10% in gram negative wall. Teichaic acid present in gram positive, whereas it is absent in gram negative. Polysaccharide is present in gram positive, where it is absent in gram negative. Lipids are less and absent in gram positive, where it is more abundantly present in gram negative. So cell wall is simple in gram positive, whereas it is complex in gram negative. Next, outer membrane and periplasmic space is absent in gram positive and it is present in gram negative. Effect of lysozyme, it is easily destroyed in gram positive cell wall, whereas it is resistant. Then type of amino acids, only few amino acid is present in gram positive, where it is present several in gram negative. Next, susceptible to streptomycin and tetracycline, these are the antibiotics. Gram positive is slightly susceptible, whereas in marked level in gram negative is susceptible. Next is penicillin and sulfonamide susceptibility is marked in gram positive, where it is much less in gram negative. Next, examples for gram positive bacteria is Bacillus anthracis, Clostridium tetani, Staphylococcus aureus, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. These are the few examples of gram positive bacilli as gram positive cocci. Whereas in gram negative cell, Escherichia coli, Salmonella typhi, Vibrio cholerae and Haemophilus influenzae. So these are the gram negative bacilli. Next is function of the cell wall. So what is the function of the cell wall? So it is involved in growth and cell division of bacteria, and the first important one is it gives shape to the cell. Without bacterial cell wall, there is no rigid, there is no definite shape. So the cell wall gives a shape to the bacterial cell. Then it protection from the internal and external actions. Then it is gives a bacterial it prevent the bacterial rupture by osmotic pressure and extracellular intracellular environment, and again it gives support to the flagella. Then it regulate the certain degree of molecules, that is inflow and outflow of molecules is regulated by this cell wall only. Next, it gives the attachment of the most bacterial viruses. So these are the few functions of the cell wall. What are all they? It gives shape to the cell, and it is involved in growth and cell division, and it gives a internal structure and supporting layer. Then it prevents the cell wall by osmotic pressure, and it provides the support for flagellum, and it regulate the inflow and outflow of the materials. Next is ribosomes. So ribosomes is nothing but it is the center of the protein synthesis. It is present inside the cytoplasm. So it gives slightly smaller than eukaryotic or ribosomes. When we compare with the eukaryotic ribosome, it is smaller in structure. They contain a constant sedimentation unit, that is 70S. Next is spore. So spore is nothing but it is a dry, thick-walled and refractile bodies that is produced one by cell. Only one endospore is produced in one single cell. So it is a spore formation by doing endospore formation. That is that endospore formation is known as sporulation. It may occur 4 to 8 hours in a vegetative cell. So within the 4 to 8 hours, the vegetative cell undergoing sporulation, and only one cell can give to only one spore. Okay, this spore on germination that is give rise to only one single cell. So in one single cell gives one spore, and that one spore on germination gives one single cell. So the sporulation is not a reproduction. So reproduction is different. That is, reproduction is a single cell gives rise to two cells, whereas sporulation is nothing but it produces one spore. That one spore on vegetation, it gives rise to only one bacterial cell. So these spores, most of the bacteria can form these spores, and the spores are extremely resistant to dry conditions, chemicals, radiation and heat. So the spore is a protective nature of this bacterial cell. Then it can the spore is remain viable in cultures, and it can survive long. That is a dormant condition. In dormant condition, even the spores can survive up to thousands of years. Then how can we destroy these endospores? By doing autoclave sterilization. That is, by doing moist head sterilization at 121 degrees centigrade for 20 minutes, we can destroy these spores. Next is bacterial sporulation. That is, how can this bacteria undergoing sporulation? That is a vegetative spectrum. DNA replication occurs. That is, there is a single septum is formed inside the cell. It divides the DNA into two, and one DNA is along with engulfed. That is, a spore is formed. The spore coat is formed. Next, the mother cell is sliced, and the spore is released. Okay, can you imagine that? First of all, the bacterial vegetative bacterium DNA is replicates, that is divided into two DNA. In one DNA there is a septum is formed, and within the septum the DNA is forming a 4 spore. Then the spore is engulfed. Then the outer coat is formed, that is spore coat. Then the mother cell is sliced and the spore is released. Then in this spore is on germination, it becomes a vegetative cell. So you can understand from this explanation. So there are a lot of shapes and structures, and we can see the functions of each and every structures of bacteria. I hope you all understand this morphology of bacteria. If you have any doubt or suggestion, you can comment in the comment box. Thank you all.